This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring you a discussion on plan to create nationwide food grain storage facility. The participants are Ranjit Mehta, Senior Secretary, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Manikant Thakur, AIR Correspondent.
Mr. Ranjit Mehta, welcome to the program. Very recently, Rural Development Minister Jairam Ramesh and Food Minister K.V. Thomas announced that construction of intermediary warehouses for food grain at block levels will be now undertaken under the Rural Jobs Scheme. In the first year, the Rural Development Ministry plans to spend about 450 crore rupees to create 15 lakh tons of storage capacity. It's a very well-intended mission to ensure food security in the country and plug the leakages in the PDS or TPDS. How far this will be taken as a major step in the right direction?
First of all, we have to understand the current food grain storage capacity in our country. We are already very short of storage in our country. So much of grain is wasted because of not having the facility for storage. So once the National Food Security Bill, the Act, which comes into existence, we will be needing lots of space to keep that food, and we will have to spend around $2.5 billion for creating the capacity to store the food grains. Recently, we have seen that there have been reports that around more than 17,000 tons of grain was wasted in 2009 and 10 due to lack of storage capacity. Now, in a country like India, where so many people sleep still today without food, and having such kind of wastage is not good. Now, even right now, in the peak time, we are short of storage capacity. Now, after the implementation of the Act, we need extra storage, and for that we need extra capacity, we need extra investment. Of course, this is a very welcome step by the Rural Development Ministry that these kind of storage facilities will be created. Today, we have CWC who have around 490 warehouses. Then we have FCI. But the point is this, once this National Food Security Act is implemented, we need the storage facility at the block level, at the village level. So, which is a very tough task. So, once we have launched the Act, we should have already made some kind of a storage facility. But nevertheless, the intention of the government is very good. So this is a good step by Government of India that these kind of storage facilities will be created at the block level. So this is going to create some extra capacity for keeping the food grains and also create employment opportunity for the villagers, for the people in the rural areas.
See, according to reports, this year's production leaves the government with 75 million tons of grain on its hands. With amenities to store only 63 million tons in the state-run warehouses, millions of tons of crops could be left out in the open, exposed to rain and rodents, or stored in makeshift spaces with only waterproof sheets to cover them. You have already pointed out towards this problem also.
Yeah.
But the problem is that while food grain production has increased in the last 2 years, new warehouses are coming up more slowly. Given the fact that the government is planning to have it in block level, it's a welcome idea and maybe to ensure the Food Security Act. But the fact is that the Food Corporation of India, which stores the grains, is reported to have told the Food Ministry sometime that it has neither the warehouse capacity nor the manpower to manage the increase. How will this be managed?
See, it's a very daunting task. And seeing that in more than 60 years, we have not been able to create the warehouses as per the agricultural growth. And today, like more than 20 to 30% of the food grains are wasted. So we are already short of storage capacity and we don't have investments because creating large warehouses needs a lot of investment. And to create those investment, we need land. Now, after you see the land acquisition bill, I don't think it will be very easy for the private sector also to get into this business because this food warehouses require a lot of land. So this land has to be acquired in different places. To acquire those land, the kind of terms and conditions are there, probably it is going to be very, very tough task. And moreover, when you see like it requires crores of investment to create one warehouse. So in that case, we need large companies. We need huge investment. Now, even if we have the investment, then the regulatory system to really develop that into a profitable business model is going to be very, very difficult. Seeing the current situation, the current scenario, where we have the land acquisition bill and these things, these are going to make the things very difficult to convert this idea, this plan into reality. It's a very tough task, but I'm sure that the government has some solid plans to implement these things, definitely. And today, when we see that during the peak time also, we don't have storage capacity. As I told you, around 30% of the food grain is wasted still, so we are short of that. We are not able to meet up the current requirement. Now, once this National Food Security Act is coming, then we need a lot of warehouses. So much of food grain is already getting wasted. So I think that we have very uphill task. It's a tough task. We'll have to really look beyond the means what we have today.
Since the government is taking the step to put the right kind of measure in place, what do you think that something like public-private partnership could come in this sector also?
See, one step by Government of India is we have WDRA, Warehousing Development Regulatory Authority, which was created in around 2010. So their job is to regulate these warehouses, and they are doing a good job. But the point is this, that since we are unable to protect the grains which we already have in so many years. Now, after this food security bill is there, we need a lot of storage facility and the kind of regulatory environment that we have as of today. It will be very difficult to get the private investors to invest in these warehouses. Moreover, these are not very profitable businesses. These are long-term businesses where people will invest. Now, for that, it's a long-term and capital investment. And for that, I think it will be very difficult, but if we take some corrective measures right now and create a processes where it will be easy to attract the private investment, then only we can have some kind of facilities where we can keep the food grains and which can be given to the poor people.
Mr. Mehta, government has made it very clear that states are required to provide land and the center would bear the construction cost. And the states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra and Gujarat would be the biggest beneficiaries of the initiative. At present, states take loan from National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, Nationwde, to construct these facilities.
Yes.
Now, keeping in view the fact that the government is coming forward with the land and the money, why private companies should be that apprehensive?
Number one, private companies are not apprehensive. Any businessman would like to invest the money. But point is this, we have seen the recent PPP projects in other fields also. Like road, when we talk of state roads, you have seen that today how many projects are stalled due to non-availability of the land. There are more than 10 lakh crores of projects are still pending. They are stalled due to some or the other regulatory matter, and which is of course a bigger land is a state subject. All the land is with the state. It will be very difficult to acquire the land even for the government. And even if today, if you talk of central government only gives the directions. Now it is a state subject. Now the state has not been able to provide land for certain PPP projects, even for some of the road projects. So that we have seen the live example. So how far they will be able to supply the land for the creation of warehouses, which is not so profitable business, though it is a need of the nation. But if you talk of as a business proposal, it is not as profitable as other businesses which are there. So I think that it will be a very tough task to attract the private investment and in this kind of regulatory environment in the country.
Eminent scientists like M.S. Swaminathan has said that there should be at least 50 huge warehouses across the country to ensure the effective implementation of food security in the country.
Absolutely.
Given the fact that you have been saying, it means that it will take more time than the stipulated period of starting the whole thing from next year. So how much time you think these things will take?
The whole process of making the land available for the warehouses and creating such big warehouses to store this kind of food where you need millions of tons of storage for keeping the food grain, which will require, I think, it's not so easy task. where it will not be so simple that it will not be simple for any government to do it in few years. I think it is going to take long time. It will be the collective effort of state government as well as central government. Then states have to take the first step, because ultimately they have to understand that it is their benefit. Any state who comes forward willingly to create these kind of warehouses, so they are going to win, because that is going to definitely create job opportunities in that area. And since these warehouses are required in the far-flung areas, in the rural areas, so it will give employment to those people. I think that seeing the current situation, if the Chief Minister is very active, if the Chief Minister is proactive on this matter, it should not be a problem at all. However, seeing the current political environment which is there, probably sometimes it could be difficult to get to a consensus to create these kind of warehouses.
India produces enough food crops for its 1.2 billion populace. A study reveals that around 40% of all fruits and vegetables get wasted in India when they move from grower to consumer. This is mainly due to lack of refrigerated transport, poor roads, harsh weather conditions, and the omnipresent leakages. So now, in the present scenario, when the food grain is transferred directly from FCI depots to ration shops in most states and results in leakages, how to check this wastage of these fruits and vegetables and the grains?
See, first of all, for this we have to create silos. I mean, these kind of old warehousing system will not work. And moreover, we should have a cold chain system. Cold chain system is the system where a fruit is directly taken from the garden. It is kept in a refrigerated van in a particular temperature, and whatever processes is passed through, it reaches in the same temperature to the end consumer. So we lack these kind of systems today. We need cold chains, cold supply chains in the country, which is a need of the hour, because without having these cold chains, today, I mean, you see, like we are getting apples from America, from Australia, fruits are coming from those places, and they look to be fresh. How do they reach here? Because the system is like that. They have accurate system of cold chain management. The same kind of cold chains we'll have to create in our country. The needs are vast. The investment required is huge. So we have to basically create these cold chains. We have NCCD, which is doing a good job. But still, I would say a lot is to be done. As far as creating these cold supply chain system is concerned, we have to do a lot. We need to work very hard, and we need a lot of investment, and there is huge requirement in the country. But only thing is, we need investment, we need people who could invest in that. Again, I'll say that people will invest only when the regulatory environment is inviting. When there is a positive environment, positive vibes are there, people will come and invest. But the system which is going on right now, in the sense, the investors are shying away from investing in our country. So it is a very difficult task. We need a lot of investment, definitely.
Mr. Mehta, thank you very much for talking to All India Radio.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on plan to create nationwide food grain storage facility. The participants were Ranjit Mehta, Senior Secretary, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Manikant Thakur, AIR Correspondent. It came to you in the program News Analysis, produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website news on air.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.